Yeah. streamlining some processes. We are seeing some improvements.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started this morning. First of all, I want to welcome everybody. Our delegation, our local delegation is here with us. Our governing body is here with us. Of course, members of our team, internal team, as well as some of the team members from our Richmond County Correctional Institute. So thank you all for being here this morning. We are here to talk about the actual capital needs. We are here today to discuss the actual capital needs for our RCCI. So our governing body has requested that we meet with our local delegation to make sure that they're aware of the respective needs that our governing body has and the path forward of what was requested and looked upon by our governing body to proceed with the Richmond County Correctional Institute and the actual physical facility that they currently stand in today. So with all that being said, I am going to ask if we can quickly go around the room, just introduce ourselves, and then we can go ahead and get started. I'll turn it over to our warden to actually do a presentation. So can we start with Representative Gladney?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Representative Lynn Hefner, representing Georgia's House District 130. And it's a pleasure. I am joined with my colleagues, chairman of our delegation, but we are here to listen and be in support of the needs of this city. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
And I apologize.
Good morning.
Representative Hefner.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Brian.
All right, we're going to be asking for even more money.
Brian Prince, State Rep, House District 132, parts of Augusta, all of Jefferson County. Again, Brian Prince, House Representative, House District 132, representing parts of Augusta and all of Jefferson.
Good morning, good morning. L.C. Miles, Representative District 126, Representative South Richmond County, Burke County, and Jenkins County. Thank you for inviting us here, and we hope we get something accomplished today. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Commissioner Tony Lewis, representing 6th District.
Good morning, Francine Scott, Super District 9, representing District 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Good morning, Max Burns, State Senate, District 23. I have 11 counties. I have portions of South Richmond, portions of Columbia, McDuffie, Tolliver, Jefferson, Burke, Scriven, Jenkins, Emmanuel, Glasscock. I have a few. Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, my name is Zena McClain, attorney, public safety for Augusta, Georgia, not an elected official.
Hello, Stacey Pulliam, Commissioner for District 2.
Two mics, right? Tina Swindeck, District 7 Commissioner.
Good morning, I'm Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice, District 3.
Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Guilfoyle, I would like to thank the representatives for being here, as well as the staff from RCCI. Thank y'all.
Good morning, Commissioner Tanya Barnhill Turnley, representing District 4.
Good morning, I'm Tim Schreier, Interim Finance Director for Augusta.
Good morning, Ron Lampkin, Interim Central Services Director.
Good morning, I'm Warden Joseph, RCCI Warden.
Good morning, Charles Jackson, Deputy Administrator. I'm Jim Plunkett, Interim General Counsel.
Marcy Rubinson, Holland and Knight, I represent the Augusta at the State Capitol.
And we have one more that joins us.
Yeah, Carlton Howard, District 129, representative.
All right. Okay, I think we're ready. All right. Y'all want to introduce yourselves too? All right. They look like, no, don't introduce us. All right, so we've done our welcome and our introductions. I'm going to now turn it over to our Warden Joseph so that he can provide us an RCCI operational overview.
Good morning again. So first I want to thank the delegation for supporting us in the efforts for the increase, the $6 increase that we did receive this year. So I want to say that up front. So this is our current location. We're on Tobacco Road, 2314 Tobacco Road. We've actually been at that current location since 1963. Prior to 63, our location was the current location at T.W. Joseph High School. That's where we initially started. Okay, our facility's mission, first and foremost, public safety. To protect the public, victims of crimes, citizens, and also supplement the city of Augusta's workforce with inmate labor. That's our mission. This is our org chart. We are funded for 80 employees, 73 of which are full-time, 7 are part-time. Not going to read everything verbatim, but just to give you a layout of what our organization is. Okay, general overview. Like I said, we've been at our current location since 1963. No secret, we are an older facility. We have some challenges, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. We are one of 21 county facilities in the state. There are 20 others similar to ours, but our mission is basically the same. Public safety and also to supplement the municipality's workforce. We have the capacity to house 350 inmates, but our contract currently with the state is for 230 state felons, all male. And again, thank the representative for the increase. We are now at $30 a day per inmate. That's actually a big deal. When I first started, it was $20, and we got some incremental increase, and now we have 30. All of our officers are post-certified, meaning that we go through the same training as state correction officers at state facilities. And again, we supplement the city's workforce with inmate labor. This is a layout of the details that we have assigned to the various city departments. Currently have 27 details, excuse me, 24 of which are manned by certified officers, and the other 3 are operated by civilian workers, 5 department and 2 engineering maintenance civilians. Just going to go through these next slides pretty quickly, just to give you an overview again of what we do, what we have done, and some of the things we continue to do for the city. This is actually the City of Augusta Transit office of Broad Street. This is the Wellness Center, inmates actually paying that. Of course, the cemeteries. Okay, in addition to the work details, we do offer inmate programs that are mandated by the state. Again, not going to read everything verbatim, but I just want to highlight the first one. That's the Performance Incentive Program. Basically what that is, all of our inmates that work, they have an incentive to work because they have the opportunity to reduce their sentence. So whether they're in a program or they're going out to work, that opportunity is there for them to reduce their time. In addition to that, we do offer the GED program. We have a MOU with Augusta Tech. We offer OSHA, and also the forklift program. Inmates also have the opportunity to get OJT from Central Georgia Technical College and food service, among other programs that we do offer. And again, substance abuse, motivation for change, reentry program, which assists the offenders to reenter back into society. So those are the highlights of the programs that we offer. Okay, capital improvement needs, and this is really why we're here today. Again, we are an aging facility. We have a lot of challenges. We've done good, and thanks to the staff, we've done a phenomenal job maintaining the facility up until, well, this day, but we have a lot of challenges, and challenges cost money to fix. Back in 2017, the city did approve for us to do an assessment of our electrical and plumbing system, and the report came back in order for us to be up where we need to be, it's going to cost an excess of $4 million. That was just the electrical and plumbing alone. We have issues with the roofing, heating and air, our kitchen needs revamping, a water system, water room, complete overhaul is needed, leaks, no insulation in the building. So these are the challenges that we face day in and day out. These are some pictures just to further illustrate some of the challenges that we have. This is what we've seen more frequently than not. We constantly digging up pipes that are collapsing. And if you can imagine, back in the 60s, they were not PVC pipes, they were copper pipes. So when they collapse, we really don't know until we see the leak. We have to dig them up, and this is what we're looking at. Okay, I showed this last picture again, just to further emphasize the age of the facility. This is our main electrical panel. And one of the things that the electrician told us when we did the assessment is that they don't make this anymore. So if this fails, we have a lot of problems. And to replace that by itself is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, so this is meat and potatoes. Back in 2017, 2016, again, we started to look at, after we got the report about the assessment, what can we possibly do? Again, if we're going to put $4 million in the existing facility that's just going to deal with the plumbing and electrical, we're still going to need more funding to address the other problems. So we had commissioners, 5 commissioners came out at the time, they told the facility, and the general consensus was, Warden, we don't see how you do it. We are in agreement that you need a new facility. So we started the process for SPLOS 8. We were approved for SPLOS 8. We initially requested for $15 million. End result, we got $11 million. Again, so you could imagine 4 or 5 years ago, $11 million is not the same in today's economy. And herein lies the problem. What we're being told since last year, the cost has increased almost double, to $22 million. So that's the big ask. That's why we're here. We're asking the state if they could assist us in funding some of the additional monies that we need to proceed with a new facility. Now, I do realize there's a lot of money, but there are some precedents. And we did our research. Back in 1996, the state did assist Muskogee County with a new facility. I believe the state funded 11, 12 million, and the city of Columbus, Muskogee County did 4 or 5 million. They have a brand new facility that houses over 500 inmates. So that's one. Gwinnett County also received some assistance from the state back in the early 2000s. The state came in, they built 2 new pods for them. They were also facing the same challenges that we were. And the third one more recently, back in 2014, 2015, Hall County. Interestingly enough about Hall County, they're similar to us in that they were built in 1963. Same challenges that we faced, they were facing. They went through the SPLOS process. They were approved for a SPLOS for a new facility. And they fell short, so they reached out to the state again, and the state helped them out. So that's what we're asking. Knows a lot. I think based on what we do for the city as a whole, is justifiable. We save the city money. We do all agree that the per diem that we do get from the state is not enough to cover our budget. but the work that the inmates do, I will argue that the facility pays for itself. Okay, so this is our ask. With that, I will take any questions. Yes, sir.
What's your current census? If you have a 350 capacity and allocated for 230 in the state, what's your current inmate census?
Right, so currently we're funded with 230 state facilities. Today we're currently at 225. And what happens as the inmate release, we do get more inmates come in a day or two or a week later. So they pretty much stay at that 230 mark.
Are you also housing local inmates?
No, sir.
So they're only state prisoners?
State prisoners. And none of them are from this area.
Okay. And give me the level of their crime. What level of security are these prisoners?
Right, so they're medium security, minimum and medium security. We don't house inmates with violent offenses. We do have some that have been in the system, say for example, armed robbery, but they're close to the tail end of their time. So the state will send them to a county facility to do the remainder of their time before they can go to a transitional center.
Help me understand more details a little bit. Of the 225 or so, only about 10% participate. Is that fair?
I wouldn't necessarily say 10%.
If you've got 27
Right.
Details, how many men on the detail?
We average about 90 to 100 inmates daily. It fluctuates because a lot of times we have classes, GED programs and so forth, so we keep some of those inmates in for classes. Some got to see the doctor or the dentist. So it's not a consistent number every day. And when detail officers are on vacation, obviously we can't send as much out that we normally do. So it fluctuates.
27 details at 100, roughly 3 to 4 per detail, is that fair?
We average about five inmates per detail.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Brother, have you done a study of what a new facility would cost, and if you have a diagram, you've already done all that?
Real good question. So when we started the process to be included in this plus 8, again, we did our due diligence, we reached out to different facilities. Hall County is sort of the format and the model that we were using. Their facility, new facility, is 200 inmates, 4 dormitories, and they had the assistance of the inmate mobile construction crew. So the state has, GDC has a crews, right? There's several. Their sole purpose is to go around the state and they work on programs or tasks for the state or anything that the state agreed for them to do. So we did do that. We did reach out to mobile construction and they said they would help us when the time comes. So the model we used was Hall County. And the other part of your question, yes, we did. Like I said, we were approved for SPLOST, so we did get a designer, and it was 250 beds is what we were looking at. The initial cost, like I said, we were funded for $11 million, and when he came back with the initial concept, he said we were going to need more money. So that's where we are right now.
Another question. Are you building on the same, what are you going to do with the inmates while you're constructing? Do you have a plan for that?
Right, so our plan was to use the same location at the west. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the current location on the western side of the current facility. That's the area we had designated to build a new facility. So we will still be in the current facility, and then once the new facility is built, we transition over to the new area.
And lastly, how much do you ask for?
Well, the ask is $11 million, but I'm sure by the time if we do get to groundbreaking, it's probably going to be going up. So 11 is what we asked, and I could get finance and also central service interim director to speak on the money, but 11 to 12 million is the ask.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Would you be using inmate labor to fill, or would you have to go out for,
Right, we'll have to go out, and you also use the inmate labor in conjunction with whatever contractors the city decides to go with. Yes, sir.
What conversation have you had with Commissioner Oliver?
Haven't had any direct conversations with him. I have spoken to my immediate supervisor in the state, the county camp regional coordinator, so he's abreast what we're trying to do as well.
I'd like to get Commissioner Oliver on the ground here with you
Okay.
to see the challenge and understand the problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you explain the responsibility between the county and the state when it comes to the financing this whole project?
So it's a city operation. The prison is run by the city. We contract with the state to house their inmates. So they have some skin in the game, so to speak. And like I said, historically, this has been done before. They have assisted Muskogee County, brand new facility. They have assisted Hall County, brand new facility. And also Gwinnett County, they built 2 dormitories. And I don't have all the detail, but I believe one of the prerequisites for those new facilities were the county had to increase their population, and they had to maintain it over a certain amount of years. But we could dig more deeper and get the details. But that would be the relationship.
I noticed, I think last year we put like $434 million in new pods, construction and security on from the state.
Right.
Did you get any of that?
No, sir. No, sir.
I believe last year when we met, I had a specific question about the budget for last year. And I'm looking through my notes, but I'm curious, it's really along the lines of my colleagues, Representative Howard and Senator Burns, to really understand your budgetary requests as an overall submission as it relates to the State Department of Correction budget, pursuant to what was allocated in HB 67, which was a $600 million investment that the governor was very, very motivated about pushing forward, with some adjustments that are further coming later this year. So where is your ask on the scale? And this answer may better come from the lobbyists. They may be able to tell you that, because it's very, very difficult for us to go for an ask that has already been allocated. That's one question. Second question is, there are 2 particular Department of Correctional grants that are available, and I'm curious to see if you are partnering with any other institutions or organizations, particularly with the countywide work camp grant. There is a correctional, it's with the specific relation to workforce development in correctional work camps. There is a grant, statewide grant, that will offer that. And there is also an infrastructure grant dealing specifically with Georgia Department of Correction entities. I'm curious what your posture is about applying for those grants, and if there is anything that we can do to support those efforts.
Yeah, so to answer the last question first, I'm not familiar with those grants at all, but after today, we're going to do a due diligence to make sure that if it's something we can do in the city.
I would strongly recommend that you work with the lobbyist team in addition to what Senator Burns has suggested, to see where the money is already going, right? And like I say, it's difficult for us to go and ask for a purse item that has already been allocated someplace else, and we can't even justify that we've made the efforts or put the work in to ask for what's already been, the provision has already been made.
To your first question, the governor's bill, my understanding, all those fundings were for state facilities. None of my colleagues in the county camps got any of those funds. All that went straight to states. Hardening of their facilities. I know they're building one in Washington State, Davisboro. So none of those funds were designated or allocated for county facilities. If we can't get them again, trust me, we're going to explore that as well.
The warden is correct. The almost $500 million that was allocated in last year's budget was for the state-owned and operated facilities. None of those funds went to local facilities. Don't worry, you didn't miss out on a whole chunk of funding that was available or what could have been available in the state budget for last year. If there were money that would be available to go to the local facility, that would have to come in a new ask as a separate line item. Of course, we will work with the Department of Corrections to see if there are any grant funds available for workforce development programs. I think that the grant funds that are available, though, are for programmatic funds rather than capital improvement funds, but certainly we'll talk that through and see if there are any grant funds available with the Department of Corrections. You're right, grant funds are always the absolute best way to start.
So I'm not sure if Central Service or Finance want to add anything to my presentation, so I can turn it over.
Just to piggyback off the word said, he did a good job with his explanations. Just so we know where we are in the new facility, finance-wise, he has done a good job, and we work with the designers to kind of minimize what he originally had and what they originally designed to get those costs down. I know in his presentation, we're looking at $22 million, but by the time we get to the point of bill, you may want to add about 8% on top of that $22 million. I've been pushing with him, and we're probably more on the $25 million range, just so it doesn't look as if it was over-designed. The $11 million at that time probably was good for a facility. I know in the original ask that it was about 320 beds that you were looking to do, and we cut that down to 250. We've also cut the model down to the building, got rid of some rooms, some storage space, some offices to kind of see how far we can get it down. So like I said, the original ask of $11 million was not enough from the start. He said his original ask of $15 million would have put us closer to the mark. I don't think we can cut anything else out of the project because we've done all we can. If you cut anything else out, you may just take the $11 million and try to do something else with it. He does have an aging facility. The electrical and the plumbing is the biggest, but the roof has been really causing a lot of problems along with the HVAC unit. So you put a lot of money into an aging facility already. So you want to try to get away from that as well. So the additional ask to the $11 million, like I said, we try to get us to about $25 million by the time he get ready to go into construction. It's already been designed, everything's already in place. So we will be, once funding is available, you'll be ready to go into construction phase or construction drawings. The dynamics of the building, and then the original ask too did not include the demolition of the old facility. So they're building a new facility to the west side, so if you're facing the building, it'll be to this side where our engineering maintenance and fleet maintenance department is. And then I've also asked that they include the demolition in there because you don't want the aging facility sitting next to the new facility because demo was not included in the original ask. So that would add an additional cost as well when you demo the old facility. So it will be a little bit more than what was asked anyway. That's pretty much about it.
Warden, it might be good instead of just throwing numbers out there, because you ain't gonna get another bite at the apple. Your representative's gonna fight or figure out ways where you could get funding. If you look at what the sheriff's office is doing with the pods, they got a cost per square foot. I would go off that number and probably add 3 to 5% for just basic increases in cost of construction by just throwing out 11 million, 50 million. That's how we get in trouble. So it would do good if we do our due diligence and just look at what the sheriff is doing with the pod, divide that by the square foot. That'll give you an average. Because it'll be the same construction, it's gonna be brick and mortar building, and it's gonna have basically the same electrical and plumbing. As far as this, I know that Augusta, Richmond County, I think pays $2.6 million what we budget for RCCI a year. How much do we?
Our total budget is about $5.7 million. We get a little over $2.5 million state, it'll be $2.5 million state reimbursement.
Okay.
So the cost of the county for operations is about $2.2 million.
Okay, so every year we're running into a shortfall, and that's what we need help from, because the cost, I guess, to house the inmates, the cost of the staffing, we was able to increase the staffing to oversee the inmate crews last year, but talking with the engineers, you know, it's a shame where our success depends on if we get inmate crews on cleaning up the cemeteries, these ditches, and maintaining these buildings. So we got to figure out how to overcome that. We got to figure out if we got to pay our staff more to where we can hire better people that wanted to work. That might be a small investment, but it would have a large return. What we need the help from the state is on the return on the investment side is, you know, if we spending $5-something million and only getting 2.5, the cost per inmate crew is going to go up per day, and that's where we need a little help as well. As far as, and this facility was built back in the 60s.
Yes, sir.
And by looking at these pictures, just the infrastructure of the plumbing side alone is deteriorated right before their eyes. And, you know, it's not a lack of maintenance, it's just the life of the cycle of a product. We had brought this up and y'all was real receptive earlier this year. It just, hope next year if we could get on the list to try to do something. But if something don't happen, what is the alternative? Is to shut it down, Gordon? Tell me. If we can't get this facility up to speed, it becomes a safety and health risk, not only for our staff, but for our inmates as well.
Well, I'm optimistic, Commissioner, that we'll be able to get some assistance from the state. Like I said, we've done a phenomenal job of trying to maintain it as well as best as we can. And trust me, I don't want to be liable for anyone getting hurt on account of pipe burst, what have you. So I'm optimistic that we will be able to get some help.
Oh, I believe in the representative.
And just to piggyback off of that, and the question you asked, one thing would probably be important to Ward is if you send out the original design that we have, and to see where we get to the 22 million, because that was done by the design team who gave us our cost estimates of what it would cost to get the facility built as is and what we have designed today. The 25 million that is adding is about another 8% on top of that because of the inflation cost. So we do have a breakdown of all the costs by the square footage and how we get to this point. So that's already been done, and you may want to send that out so that they can also see the design and where we get to the cost. To answer the last question, if we don't get this done or funding is not available, you still have $11 million that's sitting there, and maybe we can start with the renovations of the plumbing, the electrical, and then kind of move into some other things, the roof and the HVAC system, if we have to do that, because like you said, we want to save up the environment.
Thank you. Right. I was going to touch on that as well. And I also want to just highlight a little bit more about Hall County. So initially, Hall County was budgeted for $8 million. And by using SPLOST and getting some assistance from the state, the final bill was $3.2 million. So So again, there's some history to support the state coming in and helping is there.
Question, based on Commissioner Gibber's point, if the city is losing, quote unquote, I think I've heard that in some budget hearings, $2.7 million a year, what were the capital improvements? How would that address the fact that you're still losing money in operations? It seems like we're building a new building address the issue of the expenditures from the city.
Right. I won't, and I need to disagree with the commissioner. I wouldn't say that we're losing money. I think historically, the reason why this facility was built was to support the workforce of the city. So I think how you measure how effective we're doing that is the amount of work that the inmates are doing, opposed if you go out and hire someone. And that's where the savings comes in. I think you have to look at it holistically to see how that, works.
Warden, follow up on Representative's question. What is can you provide us an estimate of the value of the services provided by the inmates? Do you have that?
We could provide that. We could provide that to you.
Fix to say, roughly, if you had 100 inmates out a day, which is half, and yeah, you say give that information because I'm looking at somewhere between 1.5 and maybe $2 million worth of value services at $10 an hour, which you can't hire anyone at $10 an hour. Right. So the question is, what is the current value of the services provided?
So Tim, can you provide how much, based on the cost benefit analysis, what are we paying an inmate per hour if we looked at it currently?
I will get that information. I didn't bring that with me today, but I will get that information.
The last I recall, it was somewhere between $70 to $80 an hour.
$70 to $80 an hour?
For inmate?
No, for the value or the cost?
The cost. Looking at the cost benefit analysis that was provided by.
I'd like to see that.
Yes.
I'd like to,
So I have just a point of redirection. So my research is indicating that there were county programs that received funding out of House Bill 67. Athens, Bullock, Carroll, Clayton, Colquitt, Coweta, Decatur, Effingham, Floyd, Gwinnett, Hall, Harris, Jackson, Jefferson, Mitchell. So these are all county programs who receive funding from that House bill. I'm curious as to either why we're not aware that this funding is going for county programs, and if there is a partnership or an arrangement that is had, or an MOU that is basically officiating that, I'd like to understand what that looks like for us and why we did not receive a portion of that.
We were definitely gonna have to research that, because when we started the discussions, even talking to the, lobbyists, that was never an issue that came up. There's no way I would have, not pursue additional funding if it's out there.
And
so we definitely gonna pursue that.
These figures are coming from the House Budgetary Office. It's public information. It's not something that, I made up or came up with.
We definitely gonna explore that.
I'll get you the details of the programs that were funded.
I need to make sure you all have the details so that you are at least soliciting the appropriate avenue in order to retrieve funds.
Absolutely.
No, if I could address another point that came up. No, we did an analysis and we came up with about $3 million as far as work. If you were supposed to go out and hire civilians for the works that the inmates are doing. That's the figure we came up with. We'd be glad to share that with you. Yes.
Yes, this question is for Mr. Mayor. We talked about the $11 million that was set aside for And if it doesn't go through getting a new facility, and you spoke of perhaps using that money to upgrade some of the infrastructure, I'm posing this to our general counsel. Because that money was for a new facility, is it legal to use that money for upgrading infrastructure?
Mr. Lewis, I don't know the project list off the top of my head. I'll look at it and we can look and see whether or not it was just for RCCI, which is oftentimes how it's done. If that was be the case, then you could do renovations. If it's a new facility, then we would have a little bit of problems to that point. I'll get that to you this week.
The other thing I'll mention is that we would be remiss if we didn't once again thank the delegation for working with us to get the extra $6 per inmate in the budget. So that was a big push. That was one of the legislative priorities for last session. So thank you very much for getting that done. And now we are coming back for more help for this facility. That was not a part of the ask last session, and this is local funding for a capital improvement project that the state does benefit from. You know, the locals do, the city does benefit in terms of the workforce, but it really is a service that is provided for the state.
If I could just elaborate further on that. Last week, all the wardens, the county wardens, received an email from our regional coordinator wanting to know if we're willing to take more inmates from the state. So the need is there. The state relies on us as county facilities to assist them with housing these offenders because the county camps obviously do it cheaper than a state facility. So the need is there.
I have a few questions. Warden, what services are offered? You showed pictures, but specifically in those pictures I saw where concrete was being poured, I saw landscaping, I saw trenches being dreaded, I believe that's the correct terminology. I saw painting that was happening. Are there any additional services that are being rendered or can be rendered?
Those are the majority of the functions that they do, the details and crews do perform. The majority is grass cutting, maintenance, do light construction, painting, do a lot of moving. So you may see them around moving furniture from one office to another. All your Christmas lights on Broad Street are put up by the inmates annually. So it runs the gamut from ditch cleaning to light construction and everything in between.
Okay, and so if in-house we were to hire someone that did all of those, which department would that person fall under? Would it be in your department?
We do.
Mr. Lincoln?
Central Services does have one inmate crew. We range anywhere weekly between 5 to 8 inmates. So some of that painting, you've seen one at the Wellness Center, they're doing those actions for us. So we would definitely, if you were to do away with those inmates, you probably have to have at least 5 to 8 staff members. Like I said, they also assist in hanging all the Christmas decorations that you see around. So that's one of their duties that they do every year. Also, any light construction or any light carpentry work that needs to be done on some of our buildings, they have some skilled laborers that do that as well. So you would have to replace
So we
that
would
man.
house those employees, if we completely got rid of that program, we would have to house those 90 to 100 employees to basically equal out, to make up
what they're doing,
for what they're doing.
That would be correct. And also they also do all the movement, like you said. So our inmate crews do all the furniture movement, our office movement. So anytime officers are moving out, moving in, or changing offices, they take care of all of those things.
Okay, so they would be doing that. The 2.2 million, that's what our total, that's the total budget that is going towards them, is that correct, Mr. Schrader?
Excuse me. The total budget for RCCI is 5.7 million.
Okay, and how much is funded by the state? Is that what's coming out of Augusta Richmond County's budget is 5.7.
5.7 is the total expense budget. This year, it's about $2 million coming from the state, so ours therefore would be the 3.7.
3.7 million. So
I'd heard 2.5 from the state, is that correct?
It's around 2.5.
2.5 from the state.
That's what the new rate.
With the new rate. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 3.7 million is coming, so that means only, really Augusta Richmond County is 2 million, right? Because we're getting 3.7 million from the state. Can you help me to understand?
Yes. So that's how I'll do the new rate. The new rate will bring in at 230 inmates, $2.5 million a year.
Okay,
So our cost is $5.7 million.
okay,
So Augusta would have to fund $3.2 million.
okay, that's what I'm asking. So 3.2 million is coming from Augusta Richmond County. That's how much we're paying total is 3.2 million.
That's right.
That does not add on like health benefits or any of that is not in addition to that?
That is the total cost for.
That is the total cost, okay. So we're looking at hiring, and that was the question I was leading to the other day on the floor, because I actually had this meeting in mind with having our administrator and finance come up with a 1 to 5 year cost analysis, directly comparing what RCCI versus having, putting this out on RFQ for a contractor versus hiring full-time employees to be in Mr. Lampkin's department. What does that look like, period, bottom line? And so that's what I would like to see, because I feel like before we can make these decisions as to whether or not, to my colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Guilfoyle's point of the cost benefit, the return on investment, the ROI, we need to have those solid numbers first. So until we have those solid numbers, we can't really make that analysis. Thank you.
Thank you. Check. Listen, thank you, Mr. Warden, and I do appreciate you laying out the best you could for us today. Sounds like it's a little more research, some more numbers need to be figured on what's today's rate, what's out there, as well as actually the commission, local commission needs to decide where we want to go. I know you're discussing some splosh stuff now, or I guess coming up for a couple of days. I'm not sure if this is included in there or not, because it was included earlier. Again, just something you guys want to think about. I mean, I would think about if, when we make the ask, that we know the county has skin in the game, and as a delegation, I'm sure we're all on board to ask or to do what we need to do, as we did last year and years before from the state to make this possible. I know you had some good comparisons, but just venture to say Hall County, and that's the one you're using. Sometimes you have to look at the big picture, who's in leadership and who that is, okay? So just know that, Senator Burns is our biggest guy down there, 11 counties, okay? Looking at the governor on his name. But again, it's something that needs to be done, and we just need to figure out how much or what we need to do at the state level. But again, I just want to make sure, and you've done some work, so that's great. Probably need to update those numbers for sure, because we know how long, as Ms. Lampkin mentioned, how long it takes, and the prices continue to go up. So once we go in, we just need to make sure we have our best offer then, and then we need to start working. And right now, and I appreciate you holding this meeting earlier.
enough, so we can hopefully try to get some things into this budget, which they're probably working on now for next year. So thank you and kudos, and we look forward to working with you guys and doing what we can. But again, I would just appreciate as much information that you can share with us prior to these meetings, okay? We could probably help you more if we knew more going in, and then we could probably get some other things rolling prior to. So again, thank you again for your due diligence in this, and we know this needs to happen, and how we make it happen is definitely going to be together. We have to do this together, and just one more project that will make this city better. Thank you.
So again, we want to thank, of course, our delegation who has been very supportive of us and the things that we requested. We had a great year last year. We want to continue to do that, and we appreciate all of the support that you have provided to us. We are looking forward to having another meeting, you know, like we did last year, so that we can actually come together with our respective asks of you again and have some discussion and make sure that we get that information to you timely enough for you to review it prior to our meeting. I want to recognize Commissioner Scott for having the foresight to say we need to get together and have this discussion. I think it's a valid discussion. I think our RCCI does a great job of what they have. I have toured that facility. It is in dire need of some upgrades. Well, renovation needs to be redone, period, reconstructed. However, I know what they're dealing with, and I know what they're facing out there, and I support us doing something. We will proceed with what Senator Burns requested about trying to get someone here on the ground to have that discussion with the warden and actually look at the facility. And then we'll also get you the respective information that we promised during this session to make sure that you have that information as well. But we will be coming back to you again with all of our respective asks. So, are there any additional questions or concerns from our local delegation, our governing bodies? Seeing none, I forgot to recognize Marcy, who has been doing a phenomenal job as our lobbyist and working with us and working with the delegation and getting some things done. So I apologize for that oversight. If there's nothing else, again, we thank everyone for attending, and we know our action items, and we'll make sure that we take care and address those things. Thank you all for your attendance.